I'm extremely excited. I think when things don't go as planned, like I said before, I don't say a lot.
Just as Dame said, things didn't go as planned for the Bucks last season. On September 27, 2023, the Bucks performed one of the greatest trades we have ever seen, acquiring Damian Lillard from the Portland Trail Blazers in a 3-team deal where the Blazers got Jrue Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, a 2029 first-round pick, and a Bucks pick swap, and the Phoenix Suns received Jusuf Nurkic, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson, and Grayson Allen. When the trade originally happened, the NBA went berserk. Everybody was talking about how Damian Lillard and Giannis would be unstoppable, with Dame being one of the best point guards in the NBA, one of the quickest, and also one of the best shooters that can throw it up from anywhere in the court, teaming up with the most dominant player in the paint. Who was going to stop them? Before the season started last year, during a practice, Dame says, and he's just standing there like, axe out Giannis pointing to the sky, so I just throw it up. And in his head, he's thinking like, nobody's going to get the ball if you throw it up there. I'm going to get it before anybody else gets it. So that was different for me, and I threw it up. He jumped up, caught it, turned, and he just two-handed dunked it real quick. And it was like, I've never played with nobody that's capable of that. So it's just different, because it was like, that's a cheat code. To just be able to throw a ball up and have somebody be coordinated enough to hold his guy off, go up, catch it, come down and balance, go up and no dribble, no step and dunk it, over people. So I mean, it's definitely different, man. And what Dame meant by different was he was about to play with somebody that he's never played with before, and they were gonna dominate the league. Everybody was so focused on the pick and roll of Dame and Giannis and how no one would be able to defend it, and even before the season started, their relationship was off to a great start. Giannis even gave the keys to the offense to Dame by saying that it's Dame's team now. Everything was great for the Bucks. Everybody thought it would be the Bucks and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, fighting it to go to the finals to try to defeat Denver, and the season started phenomenal. But thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring our video. If you want to go to an NBA game, a sports event, or a concert, you need to buy your tickets on SeatGeek because they give you cheap prices. What makes SeatGeek extra special is they also tell you the value of the ticket that you're buying. If it's a good deal, if it's worth it, if you're overpaying, SeatGeek tells you all of that information. And if you're gonna get your tickets on SeatGeek, we even got a better deal for you. Buy your tickets on SeatGeek, use my promo code EasyBuckets, and you will get $20 off your first purchase. We thank SeatGeek for this awesome partnership, and you go and get your cheap tickets today and don't miss out. As the Bucks opened the regular season against the Philadelphia 76ers, Dame led the Bucks' entire offense and ended with 39 points and came in clutch as Dame time. With about a minute and a half to go left in regulation, the Bucks were up just by 2 points. Being guarded by Kelly Oubre Jr., Dame did what he did best. Scored a 3 to give the Bucks a 5-point lead, and the Bucks ended up winning the game. With a great start like that, the Dame and Giannis duo just became even more praised, as of course everybody kept an eye on this team. After a hot start to the season, the Bucks were at the top of the Eastern Conference. Dame was averaging 26.1 points per game, 7.1 assists per game, 4.3 rebounds, shooting 44% from the field goal and 38% from the three-point line. In the months of November and December, Giannis, Dame, and Chris took the Bucks offense to new heights. They had the best offensive rating in the league of 126.1, had the third best net rating of 10.4, and they had the highest scoring average in the NBA, scoring 131.5 points per game. A big standout game was the Bucks' first in-season tournament game where the Bucks faced Jalen Brunson's New York Knicks. The Milwaukee Bucks were leading as much as 9 points in the fourth quarter, but after the heroics of Tom Thibodeau and Jalen Brunson, the Knicks came back, taking a 2-point lead with about a minute to go left in the game. Right after the Knicks took the lead, Dame time arose. Damian Lillard received a handoff from Giannis, taking a 3 and giving the Bucks a 104-103 lead. After that heroic 3, Dame would also hit an N1 layup that of course sealed the deal for the Bucks to win their first ever in-season tournament game. Heading into the new year, the Bucks were 24-8 in the standings, just 2 games behind the Celtics, who were 24-6. Everybody saw the possibility of Damian Giannis dethroning Boston. But things changed in January and February 2024. The Milwaukee Bucks' current head coach Adrian Griffin was having troubles in the locker room with his players. The focus of this struggle was on the team's defense. The Bucks had the best offense in the league. After trading away Jrue Holiday, everybody predicted that the Bucks' defense would fall apart, and guess what? It did. The Bucks defense was so bad that even though Dame was the best player on offense, teams would do everything they can to attack Dame when they're on defense, and that would lead to easy buckets for the opposing team. Giannis and Dame were so upset with Adrian Griffin's defensive set that they actually got him fired. And even though they had an impressive record of 30-13, the Bucks were already in head coach transition. The Bucks had Joe Prunty as their interim head coach for several games and then ended up naming Doc Rivers as the full-time head coach. As a veteran head coach in the NBA, Doc Rivers has a lot of controversy whether he's actually a good coach or a bad coach. Doc Rivers has an impressive resume. He was with the Boston Celtics in the 2010 era, leading them to a championship, but he also failed recently coaching the Los Angeles Clippers and coaching the 76ers. Doc Rivers came in and coached the Bucks 10 games before the All-Star break, leading the Bucks to a terrible run. They went 3-7 before the All-Star break, and Dame, from his averages of nearly 27 points per game at the start of the season, Dame ended up only averaging 21 points per game heading into the break. Milwaukee was in a bad place. They went into the All-Star break on a terrible slump, and from them being the second seed in the Eastern Conference, they were plummeting down the standings, ended up in third. You can tell there were frustrations with Giannis and Dame because the start of the season was just so perfect, but things just kept on getting worse. Despite the negativity, Dame had an amazing All-Star week. He ended up winning the 3-point contest and also was the All-Star MVP. This was a little bright light for Milwaukee as Dame comes out of the All-Star break with his head held high. The Bucks were showcasing that they're still a threat in the Eastern Conference with Dame and Giannis, and they were figuring things out, but injuries caught them at the wrong time. On April 9th, right before the playoffs started, Giannis got hit with the left soleus, a calf muscle injury that would cause him to miss the rest of the regular season. Nobody knew the severity of Giannis' injury. The Bucks were keeping it hush-hush, but Giannis became doubtful to play in a single game in the first round of the playoffs where the Bucks were taking on the Pacers. With that, the Bucks were leaning on Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton without their superstar of Giannis. After winning game 1 of the series, the Pacers came back, taking a 2-1 lead, and at the end of game 3, Dame suffered an Achilles injury. With this injury, Dame would miss game 4, and the Bucks lost. But then in game 5, Chris Middleton stepped up and forced a game 6 in Indiana. In game 6, Dame was back. And even though he had 28 points, you can tell Dame was not the same. He was still injured and tried pushing through, and the Bucks ended up losing to the Pacers in a first round upset. The Bucks season didn't go as planned in 2024. Everybody thought they would be a strong contender for the championship, but I'm here to tell you that 2025 is going to be extremely different, and you can't forget about them. In Dame's exit interview, he was clear that he was excited for next year and a full off season to work with Doc Rivers, Giannis, and the Bucks. Everybody is talking about how the Boston Celtics are going to repeat the NBA championship. Paul George and the Sixers are going to take over the East. Mikal Bridges to the Knicks is going to be a big deal. But no one is talking about how the Bucks are still the Bucks. Giannis is still the best player in the Eastern Conference. Dame is still the second best point guard in the NBA. Watch the Bucks go right back to the NBA Finals. I love what the Bucks did this offseason. The Bucks brought in Gary Trent Jr. to a cheap deal. He's gonna be their sharpshooter. They also brought in Taurean Prince from the Los Angeles Lakers. Taurean Prince is a perfect 3-and-D player, and don't forget, they brought in DeLon Wright, a combo guard that can defend and play offense and play make. The Bucks rotation is deep. The Bucks are gonna surprise us, not in a way that we've never known before, in a way that we know how good they are. They're gonna prove their value. I'm even predicting that Giannis and Dame will both be in the top 10 for MVP voting. But I just made a video specifically talking about every single award in the NBA and my predictions on who is going to win it. You have to check that video out to know all the other awards that we'll be giving out by the end of the season. But other than that, take it easy, God bless, and I'll see you all next time on Easy Buckets.